Hey everybody, happy Thursday, hope it's going well. Give that a kick here. Got a couple things on tap today. Oop, I want to go back here, don't I? Don't have a lot of submissions for Project 2. I've got questions from several of you, but not as many people as I would have thought. So I take it this one was not going well, which is, it's understandable. This one where we're trying to take this new concept of working with databases and push it into something else new. So if you had trouble on that one, let me know. We do need to keep moving and keep getting to more content here. We're going to talk about arrays, functions, and objects, as well as form data today, and debugging. Got it to work. Turns out all the information out there seems to be for version 2, and the latest and greatest is version 3, which is a little bit different. So the debugging part we'll talk about. It's not the worst thing in the world. Oh, excuse me. And then we'll also talk about project 2 moving on. So I don't know, I hesitate trying to post videos and expect you guys to watch them throughout the week. I know like this Thursday afternoon is the slot when we have, and if I don't have the content for you on this Thursday afternoon, I don't want to expect you can take another hour, 2 hours to do something on a different time. So that's why I didn't post it earlier. I don't know if that's just silly. Let me know, and if you'd rather just have me post it and then you can watch it anytime, that's fine. I'm open to that idea as well. But we're mostly going to finish up everything in PHP except for the last little bit here, chapters 21 and 22, before break. And then we'll be moving on to the JSP side of things, our Java side. So let me fire up NetBeans here, and we're going to take a look and see if we can do project 2 first. I want to have that done in the bag before we start talking about the next project, which is project 3. I'm trying to make this even nicer to work with here. So we're just trying to build on this as we go here with this one. So, and I'm sorry, I've not graded your project 2s. I'm a terrible person. I will work on those over break for you guys. Okay. Yeah, either way, lazy. Okay. I don't know. I don't want to, like, if this was the time you set aside, I don't want to drop another 1 hour video and say, oh yeah, I expect you to do this before class. So like, I don't want to have expectations of your time like that. So that's the plan. Okay, so I'm going to close this down. I'm going to open up my database program, and I'm going to show you the couple steps that we need here. Yeah, we do more of that. Not quite so much. There's a second class, web systems development, I want to say. Let me take a look here. It's catalog. Here we go. That is more about like the API side of things. Writing our own set, 28 something, 2818 maybe? 18, is it? Nope, it's somewhere up in this range though, isn't it? Yeah, web systems integration and service development. So this one is more about building a REST API sort of thing, building your web service using WSDLs, more than just, hey, this is I don't know, what is our description? 2454. Server-side software development, web development, architecture, design patterns, frameworks, PHP, Java side, database access, a little bit of Ajax as well. So not really the API side of things. A lot of the same concepts will apply, but like you build them slightly differently if you're building just a web API versus, hey, we're doing just a general web development database-backed application, if that makes any sense. Okay, yeah, smaller chunks. That part is I've got to work on. I know, like, this is the big 2 hour lecture sort of thing, 2, 3 hour, 4 hour. I try to never go 4 hours straight if I can help it, because I get bored of hearing myself, soon enough. So I can't imagine you guys would want to watch a 4 hour video. But yeah, if I could do like a small chunk, I think that would be better. But I'm still trying to get used to this synchronous, asynchronous sort of style. And my preference is always for synchronous. I much prefer to at least chat with you guys or talk or have a little bit of feedback and see what I can tell you. I think that format just tends to work better. But yeah, having smaller chunks for asynchronous stuff is definitely better. If you aren't able to attend live and you have to sit and watch a 2 hour video, like that's tedious. But at least you can pause it and come back to it and open it later again. So that sort of thing. Okay, so we got this going here, and actually I want to, I was debugging this with someone else, so I'm going to just delete that page. We don't need it. Okay. So in our index page, I put a breakpoint in here. So a couple things that had to happen, right? Let me fire up my XAMPP controller here. So in version 3 of Xdebug, the settings are different, and that's the whole nonsense here. So what NetBeans tells you is the version 2 settings, and that's why they weren't working. So a couple things have to happen. So we open up the PHP ini file, and again, we downloaded this xdebug DLL. We dropped it in our PHP extensions. So all you have to do is you load up your, I think I do it all in Firefox here, right? Let's try that. Your localhost page, the main page that fires up. Oh, nope. Low. No, my goodness, I can't type. There we go. Excuse me. You go to your PHP info, basically drop this into that website for xdebug. Right, it's xdebug version finder. I forget, there's a link here. I think it's the wizard, is that it? Yeah, so you go to xdebug wizard, you drop in your PHP info, you just like Control-C everything on the page, paste it in here, and you go analyze. And it says, okay, you need to go download this DLL, drop it in somewhere. Like mine says, oh, you already have it. So if you haven't done that step yet, you go drop it in there in your PHP extensions directory. And we're going to go edit the PHP ini file. You drop this line in there. It says, hey, here's my Zend extension. Great. Then we need another setting. So that's the first one here. We don't need either of those ones there. Then we tell it we want the debugging mode. By default, we don't get debugging mode. The default mode will give you more errors if there's an exception that happens. But if we want to debug, we need to turn debug mode on. Oh, is it laggy? I think it looks like it's going okay for me. Yeah, bitrate seems okay. So I'm going to put this in the course Discord here. So I'm going to put that out here to PHP ini file. That's the new downloaded. Okay. So hopefully you'll find that I put that over in the Discord and you can see it. So once you add those, right, you give it a save. Okay, and then you want to restart Apache. So stop and start. And you can see if it works by hitting up, nope, that's the wrong page here, your PHP info page again. Just give it a refresh and then just search for xdebug. And it should be the next section. There should be a whole section here for xdebug. Okay, so what you're going to see is a bunch of values. So apparently between version 2 and 3, they also changed the default port number. I don't know why. Okay, I didn't write this. It's not me. So we can see now we need to be on port 9003. So now over in NetBeans, we need to change something. So you go to Tools and Options in NetBeans. And in our PHP options, there's a debugging tab. We want to change the port. So usually NetBeans likes 9000 because that's what it used to be. We want 9003. Okay, so I'll screenshot that, drop it in the Discord, and then update settings to use default port 9003. Okay, so I just dropped that screenshot in the Discord for you folks there. Then we should be able to launch with debug. So I put a breakpoint in on my index PHP page. Okay, I'm going to hit run with debugger. Now, nothing looks like it loads, which is a good sign. We don't want it to load right away. So what the debugger does is it throws this debug session state parameter in there, which is the trigger to tell Apache to go send debug info to NetBeans. So now if I come back to NetBeans, you'll see I've got a green arrow here right at line 2. So I haven't figured this out yet why, but that's okay. It pauses at the very first line. Sure, why not? If you want to go to your debug point, you just hit continue, and it'll stop at your next debug point. And I can see here in the variables all of the stuff that's happening. Right? Not a whole lot of interesting stuff yet. So we're just going to keep on stepping through, and now we can debug, step into, step over, right? On and on and on through. So notice there's no action, so our action is going to be list stocks. And if it's list, look for the stock symbol. If it's null, we're just going to call get stock. So I want to step into this one. And we're going to see, hey, we stepped into get stocks. Right? And now we're able to follow along step by step by step. Oh. That's what was the last bit? I'm sorry, I can go back. That's what, yeah. Twitch is usually pretty stable too. That's unfortunate. Sorry. Let's see. It's all good. Okay, yeah, debug file. Yep. So in your PHP INI, so you go to config PHP INI. We're adding this Zend extension based on the DLL we downloaded, and then xdebug.mode, we want debug. So once we put those in the INI file, then we come over to NetBeans, and we go to Tools, Options, PHP Debugging, and we change the port to 9003. You could also change the port number here in the config file, or we could change NetBeans. Either way should work. I'm a fan of defaults. That's just me. So either way should get you up and running. Once that's all done, and you restart Apache, you got to make sure you restart it to make it pick up those settings. You should be able to see the settings here in your PHP info in the xdebug section. So everything here, xdebug, will tell us all of the info about it here. So if we go down and look at mode, it should say we picked up debug mode. Okay, so like it tells you, hey, we changed a bunch of these values here in debug 3. And that was the clue that I was doing it wrong with the version 2 mode. Okay, so now we're just stepping through our code, and we can watch and see everything that happens. And now we can see, which is really cool, like the stocks variable is an array. It's an array of arrays. This is a two-dimensional array, right? So each stock is another array of these like key value pairs. So the first stock, and remember with PHP, we can get things out by index or by like field name. I prefer the field name because there's no guarantee you're going to get the same ordering if you do a select star. That's just a database programming tip. If we're doing select star, we're going to get the order that's in the database. If you say, I want to select ID, select comma symbol, comma current price, you'll get them in that order every time, guaranteed. So just, it's generally preferred to do things by name. That's all. But I can go in and I can inspect the data now, which is really cool. You'll see we close the cursor, we return the stocks, and then we're going to use the view stocks. So we can step into view stocks if we want. Now we're in the view stocks page, and we can step through our PHP code each time, and we can see there's for each stock in stocks, right? Stocks was the list of 8 of them. Now each individual stock is just one of them at a time. And we're getting things out by name here. Again, my preferred method for name. And I'll see each stock is changing, on and on and on. I can continue to the end. And then finally, my page should load back here in our My Awesome Stock app. So now we've got debugging working, which is huge. That's the goal. Okay? So let me go back to my view here, my stocks page. Oh, I was already on the stocks page. So we don't need this sell form, and we don't want the buy form either. I'm actually going to move all of those to a different page. So like this page will just be for managing stock. For looking up one stock, for adding a new stock, and updating a stock. That's all we want to do in this form here. And again, we have this viewing the header, and adding the footer here, so we can do that cool copyright stuff. Sure, all that's well and good. I'm going to stop my debugger. And notice it gets upset if you stop it. That's okay. Don't worry about that. It's still all up and running. Okay, so that's the debugging idea here. So now what we wanted to do is to work on project 2 to make sure we all get to a nice level set base. That happens, Snake. I mean, turn in what you have. I realized I didn't post a rubric for it. I'm really sorry. I thought we talked about the rubric last week, but apparently I did not add a rubric for you on this one, which is my mistake. I'm sorry. So there was no rubric for it. Yeah, I really thought I had one, so I don't know what happened with that. Sorry. We'll get that added in because this one was 15 points. Yeah, so probably 5 points for create, 5 points for reading, 5 points for updating, selling and ordering, something like that. I'll get it out there, and then if you have concerns about it, let me know. If you didn't do so well on it, don't worry. There'll be a chance to make up the points on the next assignment. Okay? I know that this stuff is new coming at you, especially if you hadn't had the database class before. Some of this database stuff was awkward. I expected you guys to ask if it didn't make sense, and definitely some of you did, which was great. I had several meetings with some of you to make sure we got through that portion. Right. The goal of this was, can we do the PHP side of things? If you need help with the database stuff, please let me know, because we don't have an expectation that you had all that database info before, which is weird. I don't know why it's not a prereq. I was like, you guys take the 1200 class eventually anyway, maybe? Not really sure. Not really sure. Okay. For the idea, now we wanted to update this to do all of our additional features to buy and sell stocks. So we had the buy stock, right? I got that one for you, but we're going to try and clean it up, make it a little bit nicer looking, kind of follow this model instead of just being its own separate page here. See if we can do a little bit better here, right? Trying to follow this MVC model. You guys didn't have to do the MVC model, but moving forward, that's going to be the expectation, that we follow this model. We have our views, and we have our models, right? That our controller, right? Its job is to figure out what you're trying to hit and where we want to send you. Okay. Yeah, right, 4 points is fine. It's better than nothing for sure. Right, that is getting. There we go. Okay. Mute. There it is. I found it. Okay, yeah, if it doesn't register, so you have to put it in this extensions directory, and then you tell it where to go find it with the Zen extension. Yeah, we can meet after, and we can take a look and see. But that should be all it needs to show in your PHP info, and then we can set debug mode, and then we can try and get NetBeans to connect to it. It's NetBeans listens for data. So like putting this in makes PHP send data to NetBeans. NetBeans just starts and listens. It's kind of an interesting process. All right, we're going to take that out. Okay, so that was our main index page. Right? That would look for what do we want to do with stocks here. Update, add stock, or list stocks. Okay, so I'm going to add another controller, essentially. Right? We want this to be our controller for buying and selling stocks. Right? Or maybe we can add a couple. Right? So let's do, we've got our stock database. So all of our stock queries can happen inside this stock database model. Right? The model's job is to go and execute the functions and give us back data. Right? We're putting all these functions in the model so that we have one place where all that stuff is defined, and then we hand the data from the model over to the view. So the controller sends stuff to the model, gets data back, hands it to the view, that sort of thing. All right, so let's try that. Let's see if we can go add a, let's see, we have our stocks view. This was the main stocks page. So maybe let's add a new view for users. All right, we'll start with users, because one of the things we wanted to do was add a list of users and balances. Okay, so we'll see. So if we want this to be our users page, again, I don't want to have to reinvent the wheel here. I'm going to copy all of this, and then we'll edit out what we don't want. Okay, PHP includes, oops, I missed one here. I missed my tag. No, I think I got it. Did I get it all? No. Why? Read it. Okay. Okay, so PHP, we're going to include that one. Oh, sure. Okay, why not? So this is our user list. We're going to have name, and this is the cash balance here. And we want to expect to get that from users as user. We get the user's name and the balance. That's really all it is. We could do a find user if we wanted, but that's, it's okay. You want to have, I didn't ask for any of the add user stuff, so let's not do that in this one. We don't need to add all those operations. So then all we need to do is, in our model, add a function for get users. Right, so I'm just going to copy this function here, essentially. This is, now we're going to rename it get users. So let's select star from users. This is $users. Brain isn't working. PHP is not clicking in yet. It'll take a little bit of time. It takes some practice. This is a different way of coding than we've done before in your 1500 or 2151 course. Don't sweat it. We will get there. It takes some practice. That's why we have lots of homework. Right? There's always a project to be working on. Is kind of the goal there. Okay, my face feels funny. I finally gave up on the monkey tail beard. It was just so itchy. Okay, and then we return users. There. So we can get users. So then our controller, then, so this one is just the index page for stocks. It doesn't have all the info we want. So let's see. Maybe we can add something in our header. Maybe we want to add some links here in the header section. Right, we could do that. So we could add some links in here. Let's see. Here's our view for stocks. So it starts the body. So let's not start the body here, because I want to put some more body stuff in our header view. Oh, no, you know what? No, we'll leave that here. Let's add another view. So let's add a PHP file for like navigation bar. Right, so the nav bar then in our view, I guess we want lowercase. We'll just put navigation. Okay. We need to have all of the things that we need to navigate between our different pages. And we're just going to include this here in our other pages. So for navigation, then we just need a bunch of links. Right? Yes, coffee for sure. Definitely need more coffee. Oh, my cup is empty. Forgot to refill before class. I'll go grab some when we take break. Posture set. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Snake. Yeah, I gotta use this back brace here. All right, awesome. Okay, that way I'm sitting up a little better here, hitting my head on the back of this. So if we just need a bunch of links here, we can do this any sort of way to make it pretty. Again, I'm not the one who does pretty web design stuff. You can go take the other web design courses for that. So let's just, I don't know, let's make maybe a table. I don't need any PHP here. So make a table. We'll end the table. We'll have a single row. And inside that row, we'll have a couple table data sections. So let's see, each one of those then we'll have one for stocks. We'll have one for users, and then we'll have one for buy and sell. Oh, like manage stocks, users, buy and sell. So, and each of those can be a reference. So href. So the manage stocks then is just the root. Right? That's just the main page. Right? That's the index page. That's our main index. And maybe we could change it up later, but oh, you'll get there, Snake. Don't worry. Don't worry. We got a chance to make up points that are missing. So then users, then we're going to need another controller for users. Right? So we need a users controller. Call this one our users. Yeah. Controller, why not? And then our controller then just has to go and say, okay, we need these. Right? And then we're going to go call our function, like users, is get users. So $users is get users. And then we require our view / users PHP. Nope. Okay, there we go. Because this will load then this users page for us. This one's already going to get the header and the footer inside the view, so the controller just goes and says, hey, okay, we're not doing anything interesting. Get the users from the model, and then load the user's view. This one's kind of boring. Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so that's our users controller. So we need to then in our navigation we'll send users to the users controller. Okay, and then we can add this navigation PHP in all of our views. So in our stocks view, right, after we create the body, we want to add this PHP include navigation. View/navigation. Okay, and then our users can do the same thing. Right? We want to just include that navigation page. That way we're building out these pieces and we just kind of piece them together to include all of them back and forth. Do I need the post in your local host URL? I'm not sure what you mean there, Snake. Oh, the port? No, so in your config, you just leave it here. You change the PHP debugging option here to set the port. If you changed the port in your Apache server, like I changed mine to 50,080 instead of port 80 because my IIS was using 80, then you have to specify the port. And usually you do that in the project settings. Oh yeah, to hit the local host. Yeah, so it's localhost : whatever port that is. So mine was 50,080. I've been doing everything on that port. 50,080. If you left it at 80, that's fine. It'll still work just fine. Okay, so let's see if we can get this up and running. We want Firefox. Oh, views stocks.php. Who views navigation? We broke it. That's okay. Navigation.php. That would be helpful. I had the right name there. PHP. There we go. Okay. So if we actually tell it it's a PHP page, so manage stocks, right, just takes us to index. Nothing. Users then should take us to the users controller. Oh, test.users does not exist. That's right. I think my name there is telling me, hey, the error on stock database line 24. Right, sure. So let's take a look at that. Stock database, line 24, here. Select start. I think my table name is just user. And we can check that out in the phpMyAdmin. Let's take a peek. Right, SQL is very particular about how it names things. So let's take a look. Test database. It up. Yeah, user. Okay, so my table is user. Yep, so if I fix the query, just to be select star from user, we should be in better shape here. Let's take a peek. Can I refresh? Oh, we're getting closer. Getting closer. View users.php. Users.php. Isn't that what I called it? View view/users.php. Users controller line 7. Okay, what did I type wrong then? Users controller line 7 require view with an S. Views users PHP. One of these days I'll stop having typos, but today is not the day. You know what? It's probably never going to be my day to not have typos, but that's okay. We have typos. We just need to read our errors. All right, so we got the user list. Good sign so far. But now we can't find views navigation. Oh, I had that same problem. So back in my users view, it's navigation.php. Not just navigation. There we go. And we get our little navigation. Again, this is terrible. It's not pretty. Don't worry about it. Right? We're not going for pretty here. We're just going for functional. Take the other classes if you want pretty. Okay. There's my users list with their cash balance and my managed stocks. Okay. Is that working okay so far? I like it. Okay, so now we have users, right? That was the plus balance as a separate page or index PHP. Great. Now we need to do all of our stock order stuff for buying and selling stock. Okay. So that is then we're going to add another file for our stock order controller. Okay. Its job is to call the model and load the right view. Right. That's the goal. So just like our regular stock controller, right? Short require up some pages. Okay, we got those. We need to go see what we want to do. So we can use the same action filter if we want. Right? For updating. So we had probably want to list them. Maybe be able to filter by user if we wanted. Again, I don't think I required any of that. Let's see. List of stocks purchased and username, not the user ID. Okay, so that's just going to show everything. And then for selling and buying stock. Right? Okay, so we'll have a couple actions, and we'll have a list, we'll have a buy stock, and a sell stock action. That sound good in our action check? Okay, so let's see. That's probably pretty close. We'll take most of that. And we can change it up later. And that's all it does. So we want it to have, all right, if we don't have an action, we'll just list stock orders. Okay, so if our action is list stock orders, we'll get maybe a username. And we didn't even need to filter, never mind. So we don't need to filter at all. Okay, so we're just going to get stock orders. I'm sorry, Snake. Yeah, we can take a look later. This is get stock orders. This is stock orders. Okay, and then we'll add a view for stock orders PHP. Okay, so kind of going through all the time. So we'll come back to all this other stuff then, right? We'll come back to all that. Okay, so we need a stock order view. Stock orders PHP in our view. So let's set up a new view. Stock orders in our view. Great. And just like our stocks page, right, we want to do a bunch of stuff. Sure. So let's have our stock orders page. So we're going to include the header, include the navigation. This is a stock order list, right, which is going to have the symbol. And then what else did we want to display here? We said we wanted list of stocks purchased, the symbol name, and username. Probably the quantity, right? We could do that too. So the symbol, the quantity, owned, and maybe the name. If we want to get fancy, we could include the purchase price, right? Purchased price. And then we could even be fancy too and include the current price. I'm going to say for each stock order, right, as stock order, we can do a bunch of things. Right, so we're going to need a bunch more of these here. I think we only need 5. Right, so the symbol, a quantity, a name, a purchased price, and a current price. Okay, that's all for now. Take the rest out. Okay, so now I need to work on the model. Maybe my get stock orders. So we're going to come back here. We're going to add another page for get stock orders. Let's see. We'll just take this one and copy paste it. It says get stock orders. Okay. Now our query here is going to be a little bit different. Okay, because we want to get the user, the stock order, and even the current price. So we need to do some of that table joining that we talked about before. Excuse me. Remember how we can join tables together in a query. And this, if you didn't have this part, that's okay. Wasn't too big of a deal. And if the query part's hard, again, tell me. I'm happy to help with the database stuff. So we want to select star from user. inner join. I think we can just say join, right? So join stock order on. Let's probably bump these down a line here then, right? Users stock order dot user ID. Right, we got to look at our table and see what it was called. So in stock order, we had a field named user ID, user under ID. Oh yeah, we can just open it up here and see it, right? Okay, we also had a stock ID. You take a look at all these columns here. And we join things on columns, the matching columns. Those are those foreign keys. So in stock order, the stock ID represents the key in stock. Okay. So on user ID is equal to the user.id. Okay. Then we also want to join stocks, or is it stock or stocks? Join stock on stock.id equals stock order.stock ID. That should get us all the fields from that. And what we can do is we can go and run this query here over in your PHP MyAdmin. So as we're kind of developing this, we can run SQL queries and see what we get. So we want to select star from user, join stock order on stock. So this one's nice because you get the type ahead. I don't know, can I zoom this in? I can zoom it in, good. So stock order dot user ID equals user.id. Join stock on stock.id is stock order dot stock ID. Okay, and we can test out the syntax here and try and run it and see if that gives us what we expect. So testing out your queries here in the PHP MyAdmin is fantastic. Uh-oh. Do we not have any orders? We might not have any orders. Let me come back to that. Yeah, I didn't order any. So let me add some data here. I want to insert here. Actually, we could just go buy some, right? So let's say, oh, I took it out. Never mind. I took it out. So we'll just add it here ourselves. We want to insert. So what do we want? So for ID, we're going to leave alone for the stock ID. Right? We get these nice little drop downs. Let's buy some GME. Let's say we bought it yesterday at $50 a share. We bought 10 of them, and user ID was me. I'm going to go insert that. Okay, let's add one more to make this a little bit interesting here, right? Let's see, what other stocks did we have? We had, how about Tesla? Let's have our Tesla stock here then. Nope, Tesla. Let's say they bought it for $780. I don't know. It hit like 700 yesterday. And maybe they bought one of them because that's really expensive. And we'll say smart person bought that one. I'm going to insert that data. Now when I come back here to my query, we just refresh it. We should get some more data. Oh, no, definitely. You can test things in here all you want. You can delete things if you use delete. So be careful, but no, and you can always recreate it. This is just dummy data. Yep, now we're going to see we get a bunch of fields. Right, I get ID, name, purchase price, quantity, symbol, current price, on and on and on. Aren't smart person and Eric the same thing? Oh, no. Eric bought GameStop stock at $200 due to the fear of missing out, which I learned was a mistake, as I'm out some cash. But that's okay. That is okay. It's all part of the fun, right? As a general rule of thumb, don't play with money that you can't lose. Time in hand. Oh, no. I sold today, actually. I did not sell when it got down to like $40 a share, but I did sell today when it peaked back up to about 170. So I think I sold at about 173. So I'm only down a little bit per share, which is much better than the $150 down per share was, yesterday. So it's fun money, right? Don't put money you can't afford to lose into the market if you're just having fun with it, right? Retirement investments, we'll say, is a different thing, but usually with retirement investments, you just kind of put them in a fund and just let them sit and never look at them. You're not typically active with your retirement investments because bad things can happen. That's sort of the rule of thumb, right? We did that little retirement calculator, right? So if you just keep putting money away and we'll assume it will just kind of have some growth there if we don't touch it, that's a decent rule of thumb. You know, so I'm ashamed to admit my paper hands. I sold, but the loss wasn't too bad. That's okay. Maybe I can make it back on some other stuff. Dance game face, yeah. Okay, that's what it is. Anyway, so I've got all the data here, right? So that should be good then, right? I think my query should work here. From user, stock order, stock ID. That all looks fine. Just make sure of your spaces as well. Make sure you've got spaces between them, either at the end or the beginning. Yes. Oh yeah. The stock market's a big Ponzi scheme, which is unfortunate. There is increased artificial demand due to government incentives to investing in the market through all of our 401k retirement program stuff. So because there's artificial demand, it will prop up the prices. Oh, Snake, you got the coolest emotes there. Oh, that was our friend who raided the channel the other day, right? Trey? That's cool. That was fun. Okay. So we got the get stock orders. That should be good. So let's go fix up our navigation here then. Right, so this was going to be a reference to. And this was stock order controller. And again, naming these controllers is probably a little bit ugly because like that URL will show up here. So actually, I'm going to back out controller here of both of these. And then I'm just going to take the word controller out of the names. That's just a little bit ugly. Okay. So let's have stock order, we'll have users. And I think that'll be a little bit cleaner looking. So let's give that a shot. Buy, sell stock. Uh-oh. We broke it. Can't find variable stock. Oh yeah, there's no variable stock. Go figure. So our stock database, when we get stock orders, and we called it users. Oops, that should be stock orders. And we return stock orders. A crypto trader. Oh yeah, that'd be fun. And we could do that in JSP. I mean, it's the same thing, right? Unless you actually want to do the real crypto stuff, and that's over my head. You know, like master's level cryptography is not a class I ever had to take. Okay, so we'll fix up that reference. Hopefully then it's a little bit cleaner. Nope, okay, buy and sell stock. All right, variable stock on stock order line 14. So we must not have copy pasted something right. Stock order line 14. Oh yeah, it's not stock, it's stock order. Oh, oops. This is the problem when you copy paste stuff. If you forget to update what you copy pasted, you get copy pasta. Yep, there we go. That's a good joke, right? Okay, we're getting close. Now we don't have a purchased price. So what was our column? Our column was purchase price. Okay, so let's go fix that. So that was purchase price. So notice my wording here is all over the place, which is sad. Like some is camel casing, some has the underscores. It should be consistent. Yeah, buy Bitcoin at a certain price, buy Litecoin at a certain price. Don't forget Dogecoin, or I prefer to call it Doggy Coin because it just makes me happy. But Dogecoin actually took a big dive today, which was sad. It had been doing really well earlier. Elon Musk keeps pumping it for reasons. Some people have suspicions. But it was doing well, and then it's down 6% today. But, you know, such is life. I mean, you could add in the cryptos and just call them stocks, and we're not going to know the difference, right? I mean, for most people, it's pretty much the same thing. You get ownership of a virtual currency versus fractional ownership in a real company. Maybe they're different. I don't know. All right, we're getting closer. Oh, that's the wrong one. So let's refresh over here. Look at that. And now we get our nice little table. So we get name, purchase price, current price, that sort of thing, right? Awesome. Do you have, I heard you couldn't like actually be successful as a solo miner and that you just almost never hit a block because of the pools being so much bigger and more active that like you would never hit your own block as a solo miner. Well, everything I read just says join a pool, which I'm working on it, trying to get an old laptop going just for fun. Just for the entertainment of it. I think it'll use more power than it actually does, but just wanted to have some fun with it. Oh, back then, yeah, you could have soloed. Stocked up a bunch of Dogecoin. Okay, so we've got the listing. right, of our stock orders. We're feeling good so far? So this is our list, right? Then we wanted to buy stock and sell stock. Okay, so we need to come back to our page here, our view, and add in a form. So I'm just going to copy paste one, right? So we want to maybe buy and sell. How about one of these? Sure. We'll take one of these. So that's the list. We'll add a form for, we'll call it buy stock. And our action, then we're not going to the index page, we're going to the stock order PHP page. We're going to post some data. So we need the symbol. We don't need the current price, we need the quantity. Right, name is quantity. And then we have this hidden action, right, that we've been using. Might be easier to sell how to get rich courses. Oh yeah, you know, that stuff always upsets me. Like you see all these ads for like people giving you market secrets, so they're going to sell you their get rich quick success schemes. But if it actually worked, they wouldn't need to sell this product to people, right? Like if you just take it in and think about it, like anybody who wants to sell you their technique for getting rich off of these schemes, that's fishy, you know, just off of that, because they want to sell this thing, right? If it worked, they wouldn't need to. So obviously they're doing something fishy, and we should be pretty suspicious. Okay, that's just fair, right? I mean, don't take that analogy too far and start trying to apply it to college classes, teaching you job skills to go get a job, because that analogy just hurts. So, you know, we'll leave it as the get rich quick schemes and making fun of those people. Okay, so we're going to call this action buy stock. Nice hash. You get Bitcoin for mining altcoin. Why not take the altcoin for mining altcoin? Sure, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. You can trade one for the other anytime, right? Seems silly. I don't know. I gotta look into it. I heard mining a Litecoin, you could also be mining Dogecoin at the same time because it's the same hashing algorithm or something. You can merge hash. It's all over my head, to be honest. I barely understand it, and I've not spent the time to go and look into it. But I have this plan because our technology appropriate use regulations for the school says we shouldn't do things like plug in a Bitcoin miner machine and use college electricity to mine Bitcoin for our own gain, which makes sense, right? That's you know, abuse of resources and will quickly get you cut off. But if we were researching this or doing a class project on it, no, that's you know. Maybe someday we could do some silly stuff like that. All right, so we've got the buy. So this is going to be our value is going to be buy stock, and we also need to tell the people, tell the form which user it is. So username, we'll call that name, right? Because we're not really logging in. We're just saying, hey, this name is going to buy it. This is a terrible program because we can make anybody buy anything. Right? We haven't got to the security point of things yet. We're just, can we interact with the database a little bit? Okay, so we're going to buy stock for a given symbol, a given quantity for a particular user, right? And the idea was that when we buy the stock, we subtract from the user's balance the quantity times the current price of the stock. So you need to go get the current price, subtract that times the quantity from their balance. So we're taking away their cash, adding stock. Okay, so they buy stock. So we need to handle a buy stock action in our stock order controller, right? So else if $action is equal to buy stock. We need to go do the buy stock thing. Is it too late to copy all this and turn it in? Yeah, that's sort of why things are due before I go over the solution. The next project we're going to do is actually building on this same one. So like if you want to use mine as the baseline for the next version, that's perfectly fine. Just like I said, use what I had for managing stocks to do the stock order management piece. We're just going to be trying to build on it here. But once we get done with PHP, we're not going to use this project anymore. We're going to switch to something else over in JSP Java land, and then we'll be done with our stock program. But that was sort of the idea. There wasn't enough to do with the retirement calculator to keep that up and running. I guess we could have hooked it into stocks and be like, hey, if you want to keep buying this stock every year or some nonsense like that. Again, I think most financial professionals suggest index funds nowadays because they have the lowest fees and all that good stuff. But go take like an economics class or a business class and ask those profs because they probably know a whole lot more about it than I am. I'm just an amateur. I like the stock, I think is what Roaring Kitty says. So anyway, so if the action was buy stock, then we need to go buy stock. Right, so remember our controller here then, when we were updating stock, took some arguments. So we're going to need to add a method for buy stock that takes some arguments. Okay, so we're going to add a buy stock that takes a symbol, a quantity, and a username. Well, maybe let's call it name. Why not? Okay, we have to do a couple things. So we're going to do an insert. Right? The idea was you had to add the row, and then we have to change their balance. Okay, so we got a couple ways of doing this. Okay, you can do things in multiple queries. Right? There's no rule that says you can only have one query. Right? And we're going to have an insert, and then we're going to have an update. So we need to do two queries anyway, but we also need to go take a name and find the user ID from it. Right? We need to take the stock symbol, and we need to go get the current price of that stock symbol. So we have a couple things happening here. So I actually want to do the same get stock by symbol here. I want to do this exact same query because I need to look up the current price. So I'm going to copy paste this here into my buy stock. So the first thing I need to do is I need to go get the current price. And what I'm expecting, actually, I don't think I'm going to get more than one result because we should only have each stock in there once. So I'm just going to do a single fetch here and call that stock. And I'm going to say, hey, my stock current price is equal to, we can do that after we close the cursor. Right? My stock current price is equal to stock current price. Right, so that's the current price of the stock, right? I went and did the query by symbol. So you give me this, or mine was called stock symbol, right? Yeah. So I'm looking up by the stock symbol a single stock. I want to get out its current price and save that because I need to use this later for my arithmetic. Okay? Then we could do the same thing with user ID if we wanted. So the insert commands, you can do joins in inserts. We can do that. Or we can just go look it up. Because I'm already doing a query in stock, I could have stock ID is my stock ID field. Do that, and then I want the same user query here, essentially. Where might get users? We're going to rinse and repeat here. So it's going to get my user, but now I want to match where name equals a name variable. Okay, I'm going to prepare the query, and I'm going to go bind my name argument to that name variable. So wherever I had the colon name, plug in the $name. Again, this is the proper way of doing it because you get protection against SQL injection. I can reference stock later, but not in this function. So I'm assigning the pieces that I want because I'm going to use these variables later in my query. But once I have the ID out, I don't need to go do any joins, anything like that in my insert. I can just insert a stock ID and I'll bind it on my stock ID I just grabbed here. So again, I expect a single user, and we don't have any database constraints. You can tell the database, hey, specifically, you're not allowed to have duplicate stock symbols, you're not allowed to have duplicate names. That's a good idea, but we haven't done the database class, so I don't expect any of that. We'll just assume we get the right stuff. And if bad stuff happens, bad stuff happens. We won't worry too much about it. Essentially, it'll just ignore any duplicates. We're never going to interact with the second Eric or the second GME stock in the table. That's okay. We have enough to worry about here. Okay, so I'm going to get a user, and then what I needed out of that was user ID is my user ID field. Okay, so now I can insert into stock, what is my table called here? Let's double check that. Stock order, all one word. So insert into stock order. And what am I going to insert? Well, I'm going to insert a couple fields, right? My goodness, I have too many tabs open. So stock order has, the ID field is auto-generated. We don't need that one. It has a purchase price, we have is the current price. We have a quantity. We have that. We have a stock ID, and we have a user ID. Got all that. Oh, thank you so much. Stretch. Oh, it is hard to stretch in this shirt. I got this. This was actually like a Facebook ad I picked up 2 years ago now. I get all the coolest things on ads because I'm a sucker for them. Hydration. Thank you, Edgar. Yes, stretch. And I got my little backboard back here, so I'm hopefully not slouching too much. I'll try and get centered in here. Cheers. This one is a lime flavored. You know, I was really tempted to add a channel point reward for like take a break, but I was afraid that one would get abused. Like we have too many redemptions for that. I think I can set like a timeout on it, but I think that might go poorly. We'll see. Anyway, so we want to insert those couple things. We want to do the purchase price, the quantity, the stock ID, and the user ID. So look, hey, I've got them all right here. I'm just going to copy paste. Isn't that nice? So, and the other cool thing you can do is you can say create PHP code. And it gets me, hey, here's an insert command. Look at that. Again, we don't need all these values. That's all well and good. But like it's mostly all filled in there. This is a little bit hard to go back and forth. So I'm not going to do too much, but I want like all of those here. I want the stock ID, the purchase price, and the user ID. I want all those. But I don't need all the backticks. I don't know why I added all those. I think probably because I had it quoted. Okay, and what values? Well, we have a bunch of parameters, right? We have parameters for all of these. I'm just going to copy paste this again. Throw in a bunch of colons. Okay, and then we're going to bind a bunch of things here. Then my let's just do all over. Sure, stock ID, purchase price. Do 2 more binds. Quantity and a user ID. Okay, so we're binding stock ID to the stock ID we just looked up. Binding purchase price to the, what do we call it, stock price or something? I forget what I called it already. Stock current price. There we go. We're binding the quantity to the quantity argument that was passed, right? That's just an argument passed to the function here. And the user ID is user ID. We already grabbed that one, user ID. Okay. So we'll insert all that information, execute, close the cursor. So this single command here is kind of big, this function, I mean, it's kind of big. We got a lot going on here. Then we also need to update the users table. We got one more query we're going to do. Right, so we're going to query is, I'm going to update user, set balance equal to balance minus a, I don't know, cost, where name equals name. Okay, and then we're going to go prepare the query, find some values. Don't need that many of them. Right, so we need a cost then is going to be quantity times the stock current price. Right, and then name is $name. Okay. So maybe these all need to get a little closer together here. Preventing exploits and binding necessary. Can't you use the variables since SQL won't interpret PHP variables? Well, so if we just do string interpolation and throw our $name in here, it is going to do string interpolation. But if the $name variable is something nasty, some sort of SQL injection attack, we've done a bad thing. The bind value specifically is going to protect against that. So you always want to use the bind here because binding protects against the SQL injections. Because I could just throw name in here and let it do the interpolation, but then my query could be nasty. We want to avoid that. There's if you take the database class, hopefully everyone shows you this comic, this Johnny Drop table. Says you're having computer trouble to do something. Did you really name your son Robert apostrophe end parenthesis semicolon drop table students semicolon? Oh yeah, little Bobby Tables. Well, we lost a year of student records. I hope you're happy. And I hope you learn to sanitize your database inputs. Sorry, I didn't get the link. If you want to link something into the Discord, I can take a peek. It, like, AutoMods links out. And hopefully everyone shows you this comic in the database class. Yeah, so if you don't do the database binding stuff, data binding stuff, and they put something malicious inside of a variable, we're in trouble, right? Because we're just trusting that we get these parameters passed to us and we do the right thing, right? They come from a form. Who knows what they throw in the form? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, so the Murak book is I think it's good at, here's what you do to get up and running. It's not as good as a traditional textbook in, like, the theory and behind the scenes why, and this is, you know, the reasons for it. But it's a very good book, I think, for, like, do this and this works. Do this and this works. Much more practical, I think. But that's okay. Right, so by stock, then, we're going to do 4 things, right? We look up the stock to get the current price and the stock ID. We look up the user to get the user ID. We update the user's balance here. Oh, we didn't actually run the command. There we go. So we need to execute. Oh, I'm sorry. That was the Perrier. My apologies. That was terrible. Yeah, stock order doesn't all need to be uppercase. Into probably all lowercase is better anyway. Okay. Oh, we are due for a break. Let's see if this works first. Okay, we want to see if we can buy a stock, and then on our stock order view, right, we're still just going to give them the list, right, of stock. They've got the buy button. It's going to send us to stock order with that action of buy stock, and then our controller, right, if we want to buy stock, didn't we add that in? If action was buy stock, we want to buy stocks, given some, okay, so we need to go look up some data. So that's all post data here, right? So we need to get the stock symbol is, what do we call it? Stock symbol underscore, maybe? Really should follow a better convention here, I'm sorry. So yeah, this is the stock symbol, the quantity, and a name. Okay, let's go back. We need a quantity and a name. Dollar name, look up name, and dollar quantity, look up quantity, and that we can use as a filter input, filter validate. We want filter validate float, right? Because you can buy partials. Okay, so then we can buy stock and we can hand it all of those parameters. Right, when we buy stock, we tell it the symbol, the quantity, and the name. Right, I think that's all we needed here for stock order. I'm sorry, the stock database. Yeah, stock symbol, quantity, and name. Right, we give it all those things. We call buy stock. Right, and then we add the view stocks. That's it. Let's try it. Oh, I didn't actually want debug mode. My mistake. Let me stop that. I just wanted to run it. Yep. Let's just run it. You did not see that comic? I'm so disappointed, Snake. I'm sorry. I was going to go to buy and sell stock. Okay, we can see what it is. Let's see. Eric wants to go buy some stock. So let's buy some. I want to buy Tesla. Let's get in on this bandwagon here. Let's buy 1 Tesla because it's expensive now. We'll say Eric wants to buy it. Ooh, we're close. Okay, so stock order, line 12. There's no stock orders. So let's take a peek. So stock orders, PHP, line 12, stock orders. We never returned anything, did we? So in our stock database, buy stock. No? What do we do here? So stock orders. Let's look at the, okay, so stock orders, line 12. We want the stock orders list. Stock orders list. On line 12, we never had that. So there's our controller. Oh, we never got the list of stocks. Okay, we need to go get that list of stocks. That's right. So let's go buy the stock, and then we'll get the list of orders. That's not great. Is that what we were doing before? We were just pushing them back to require. No, we did include. We used the header thing, right? Yeah, we used a header to send you back. Okay, that's what we did instead. Let's do that. So instead of that, once we buy it, then we'll just use a header to send you to stock order PHP. That will redirect you back, right? So it will run this, and then it's going to send us back, which should run the list again. Because we don't want to have to do this again here. There we go. This should be cleaner. That's what we were doing over here. Right? Once we did something, if we're updating, go ahead and do it. Oh, I guess we could check here too. This is a good idea. This is good. We want to follow that better practice. So if stock symbol is null, or quantity is null, or name is null, name equals null, missing symbol or quantity or name, sure. Otherwise, we go do this thing, redirect them with the header. Okay, I like that. Let's give that a shot. So now we're going to buy some, sell some stock, and see, oh look, Eric actually bought some Tesla. It did send the order through. So let's see, my users, do I have less money? Now my balance is down, 968. It's looking good. All right, sorry, we're a little over for break. Why don't we take a 10-minute break, and we can go back from there. That sound good? All right, yes, definitely get some more coffee. I have not had enough coffee here to be productive, right? Okay, we'll take a break. Let me put some music back on. We'll go from there. Break time till 2:20 p.m. Sound good? All right, see you guys in a little bit. Hey everybody, welcome on back. All right, so we had finished purchasing stock. Right, we need to do a similar thing if we want to sell stock now. So let's do another else if here. If we want to sell the stock. Again, we need the symbol. We don't need the quantity here though, right? We said selling was just going to be everything. Hey Crow, how's it going today? So just to make this easier for us, the idea with selling was going to be they just sell it all, right? All or nothing. So just sell the entire quantity. So we delete the row, add the balance. Okay, so we need to just have the symbol and who's selling. Okay, clean that up a little bit. And then we're going to sell stock for the symbol and the name. We need to go add a sell stock. Let's just copy paste this function. This is going to be sell stock, given a symbol and a name. So similar idea, right? We need to go get the current price of the stock. Okay, and we're going to use the ID. We need to go get the user ID, right? And then we're going to update user. Now we're going to increase balance by, cost, sure, maybe that's, I don't know, value, whatever you want to call it is fine. I'm just going to leave it as cost, so don't have to change my query. Right, so the exact same thing happens, right? We go look up the stock, get its current price. No, but I don't have a quantity yet, so I can't run this yet. Excuse me. Right, because I need to go get the stock, the quantity out. Excuse me. Now we could do it in a couple queries, right? This is the way we've been doing it before, which is okay. Select star from stock, where symbol is the symbol, and then bind symbol to the stock symbol, right? It's that one here. We can do that way, fetch, and then we'll get the, this is the quantity, and this is the stock order, right? I'm sorry, so stock, oh man, look up the stock order. Oh, we can't even use symbol, that's right, so this is where we're stock ID equals the stock ID, and user ID equals user ID. Okay, there we go. So we can get the stock order out for a given stock and user. Right, so we know the user, we know the stock. We can do it that way. So we'll bind stock ID to stock ID, and we'll bind user ID to user ID. User ID to user ID. Okay, and then we get the stock order, get the first one, and then we'll have the quantity is the stock order quantity. Okay, so we can get all that out then, and then we can update because now we have a quantity value. We can do it that way. I'm not a fan of this, right? If we're looking up things in all the tables, we could just do one of those joins. Right? Remember we did our join before, and we were able to, where did it go? Up here, select, we just do this query here. We can get all of it all at once. So in sell stock, we don't need to do all three of these. Let's see. Let's let me just add it here. Query equals. We're going to add in here then, right? Aware. Let's see, add a space there. Right, make sure your spacing is good. Where name equals, I'm sorry, name equals name, and symbol equals the symbol. Right, we can get all of the information with a single query joining the tables here, and then we just have to throw name and symbol in. Bind name, and we'll bind symbol. I also have to prepare it. This was a fun issue I ran into. If you forget prepare, it just gives you nasty errors, and it's really obnoxious. Then I can get all of these values out all at once here after I fetch. Okay, so I can do all of that one there. I can do all of this one here. Still need the user ID. I think that's going to be user.id. Let's try that. We might have some trouble with this one. We'll see. and then stock ID. Oh, we need the current price and the stock ID. This one here. It's going to be stock.id. I think that ought to do it for us. And this one, so I'm not so sure about it actually. So let's give it a shot. Let's see if we can get all these looked up all at once off of a single stock order. Because I need quantity, I need current price, name we already have, right? We need its stock ID, stock price, quantity. Oh, and we're not going to delete off of quantity either, so we can get rid of that one. Okay, so then we're going to update the user's balance, and we need to delete from stock order. And then we need to use the same user ID. So we need to tell it which user here. So it's where user ID equals user ID. And, oops, right? Oh man. Dot. Quote. Why is it not liking my quote? Oh, I didn't end the quote. And stock ID equals stock ID. So we're going to give it the stock ID and the user ID to go delete. And this way we're going to delete only specifically the one ordered by this user for this stock after we credit their account. I think that ought to work. Let's see. Let's see if it does. So I'm actually going to put a breakpoint in here. There we go. And I'm going to try this in debug mode because I want to see if this is going to work. And we also then need to go update our view so we can sell stock. Right, so buy stock, add a sell stock here. So the symbol and the username. That's to sell stock, and this is going to be the value here. Our action then is sell stock. Let's give that one a shot. Let's put it in debug mode. Again, it pauses like on the very first page here. So this paused on index, so I can continue because I want it to actually load here. Then I'm going to go to my buy sell page, and it's still going to pause again on the first page. So I'm just going to continue. Okay, so stock order loaded. Right now we should be able to sell a stock. So let's sell Tesla here for Eric. And now when I sell, it should pause, right? We should be back here. Now I'm back at my controller. Right, this is good so far. So we can walk through the controller, make sure it takes me to the right page. There is an action. Great. And action is sell stock. Good. So it looks like it's going good so far. Okay, we're into sell stock. So we're going to go get the symbol. We're going to get the name. And then if either one of those is null, we have an error. If not, we're going to go to sell stock. So I want to step into sell stock. Okay, we got the query. We prepare the query, bind the values, fetch it. Now this is what I wanted to find. So this stock order variable. I want to see what it actually has. So stock order then, is a Boolean. That doesn't look like anything we can get some data off of. So something went wrong here. This fetch didn't work. Fetch from user join stock order user ID, where name equals name and symbol equals symbol. Do we bind that query okay? Let's see. So let's do this. So I can actually copy this. Come on. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Triple click will usually get us into it. Let's come over here and run a SQL query. See if this works. Come on. Give me a new query. Oh, we're waiting here, so I want to stop. Stop the execution. There we go. I locked the whole thing up. Think. Error processing. SQL. We are running, right? And we're running. Oh my goodness. All right. See if I can try this again. Sitting the mouse around the wheel makes it go faster. Yes. Yeah, I'd like to encourage that to speed up. All right, so I think it's... what did we do? Okay, there we go. Now we got a query. So I want to select star from users, join stock order on, where, and what's fun with this is it should be able to give you these parameters in here. Let's see. Does it go? Error. Okay, that's fine. I thought there was a way for us to get those parameters out. What? It was working before. Yeah, oh, bind parameters. If I check bind parameters, here we go. So name is Eric, symbol TSLA. Let's see if I can run that. Eric in where clause. Call Eric. Any quotes, maybe? Should be able to get this thing to work. Nope. Okay. Never mind. It does not work. Ending quote. I'll just plug it in up here because that's fine. Eric and Tesla, TSLA. You can run that. So forget the binding parameters. I thought it worked, but apparently it doesn't. Spin, spin, spin. Okay, so we did get some data out. That's good. So that should have worked then. Let's try it again. Let's try it in debug mode. The query looked good. Confirmed. All right, so just continue. I'm going to buy sell stock. I'm going to continue. Okay, there. So we want to sell TSLA for user Eric, sell stock. Okay. And if I continue, it should just take me to my breakpoint. Okay, so we're at the query. We got a stock symbol, Tesla, name, Eric. Let's see what we get. We prepare the query, we bind the values, Oh, you know what? That's what happened. I didn't execute it. You gotta execute your query before you can fetch some results. This is the problem with copy pasta. Okay, let me stop that. Okay, I think it's gonna work this time now, if I just run it. There we go. Buy, sell stock, Tesla for Eric. So I should get back 788 because that's the current price. Oh, okay. So user.id didn't work and stock.id didn't work. That's the problem. That's why I wanted it in debug mode. Put it back in debug mode. Because we got to see what that field is. I think it's going to be a little bit harder to get the data out of the field that way. So let's continue. There's got to be a way to make it not break until you hit a breakpoint, but I haven't figured that one out yet. Tesla for Eric. All right. Let's continue to my breakpoint. There we go. Okay, now we've got a stock order. So let's take a look at what the stock order variable has for us. So stock order has a bunch of things. Right? It's got a name, a balance, a stock ID, a purchase price, a quantity, a user ID. There we go. Okay, so it's user under ID, of course. Yep, and stock under ID. There we go. There we go. Use those correct variables. And refresh. Nope, I didn't actually save. Give that a run. Sell some stock. We're getting there. Sell Tesla for Eric. Oh, close. Okay, PDO exception. Sell stock. Stock database line 167. What's on line 167? 167. Execute this one. Stock ID. User ID. What was the exception? Did it say? This equals invalid number of parameters. Parameter is not defined. Okay, so I did something wrong with my parameters here. Oh, yeah, user ID and stock ID. This is what I get. So sometimes I use underscores, sometimes I don't use underscores. And this is my mistake for doing that poorly. I should just always use underscores, and life will be better. Okay, we're getting there. So now let's see. Buy and sell stock. All right. Tesla for Eric. Sell the stock. Look at that, it's sold. So let's see if my user then made some more money. I'm back up. You like camel casing? Yeah, I forget which one is more popular. I think either one is acceptable, so doesn't matter one way or the other to me. All right, so we're able to buy stock and sell stock here. Was that it? Buying, right? That's creating. Reading, giving the list here. right, with the username, not the user ID, and selling deletes the row and adds it. I think that's it for the project. How do you guys feel? Did you get this? So again, it didn't have to be with this model view controller style. I said you just throw it all in index if you wanted. That's perfectly fine. I was just trying to explore this, and then we'll be in a better shape for the next part of this project. Here. Another stretch. Oh yeah, thank you. Heart attack, Snake. I'm sorry. Here, so let me do this. Let me take all of this project here and go find it. Let's see. So that is in XAMPP, htdocs. Come on. Open, please. That's our database program. So I'm just going to copy all of that here over to our GitHub for the course. I'm going to throw all that code back out on GitHub. It's also my to-do list to figure out how to make that sync properly, because it worked sometimes when I would load the project. It would copy all my files over, but not the other times. That was sad. Let me show this in Explorer. So hopefully it opens the right one. Yep, 2454. I'm going to throw that one back on top. Replace all the files. And now GitHub should say, hey, we got a bunch of changed stuff and new stuff. Right, so view of stock was changed. This private should be fine. I don't think that matters. Yeah, it's just a list of files. It's all good. Stock database was changed. Right, green is new. Red was removed. A lot of added stuff. Users was new. So all that stuff. So this is project 2 complete. Okay. I'll push that one out there. Okay, so I've got that out there for you. So that wasn't too terrible, right? I don't know. Lots of questions from some people, silence from other people, and not everybody turned it in. So I'm a little confused about how things actually went. Not really sure if that's a good sign or a bad sign. Okay, so 14 people have turned it in out of our 24. I think that's a bad sign. So if you didn't get it in, and I haven't heard from you, I'm confused. Usually, people reach out and tell me that they're stuck on something, and I help them. So if that wasn't clear that I'm here to help you if you get stuck on things, I'm here to help you get stuck on things, right? Let me remind you, right? The goal is you get these done, right? The goal is not that you lose a bunch of points for not getting it done, right? The idea is that we've got this homework for you to practice these things and try them, and the more you practice things, the better you get at them, so you learn them. That's the overall goal, okay? That's why we have the projects, right? We want to go and work on these to get better at them. So yeah, let me know if you totally missed it. We'll have some chances you can make up some of those points you missed a little bit later. Getting the DLL file. Yes, this Xdebug site, so Xdebug wizard. Here, I'll post that link here in the Discord. Uh-oh. Not already on Twitch. Third-party tool. Oh, that's what you were saying earlier, Lazy, right? I think it's working better for you. So just paste everything you get from your PHP info page in here. Go to PHP info. Copy everything from here. Or your port number to the wizard. And then you download the DLL as directed. Okay, so I put some in there. All right. Yep. Well, let me know if that helps, okay? I'll put that out there for you. Snake. And if you're still having trouble, let me know. But being able to debug this is super nice. Definitely very useful. So you can do these sorts of things. Okay. All right, so the next stuff we need to go over then, where we didn't get to last time, was where is it here? We ended with, didn't get to chapter 7 really. Working with form data, having different types of ways to interact with pages, I think was kind of where we left off. So there's lots of different ways. So the only thing we've done so far is just a basic form. Like if we take a look at one of our views here, right? We just have, here's a form, here's a bunch of text inputs. Excuse me, there's other types of inputs you can use. I feel like a lot of this is quick. You can go over it in the textbook and just know that there's this type if you want to use it. We're going to use a couple different types. Right? Generally, we like these text inputs. They're good. The radio buttons are okay. Checkboxes are okay. I'm much more interested in the drop-down boxes. So drop-down lists, I think, are much more interesting. So those make a much better, I think, a much better usability sort of way. So if we have a list of possible options rather than having to type everything in. So let's go do that. So let's see. Let's maybe look at our stock page here. Look at our stocks view. So right now we have this option if we want to find a particular stock. We said, hey, give me the name of the stock. Well, that's not the most friendly option there, right? It's because I have to tell it what name we want and then go see if we have that data. So, maybe a drop-down might be nicer here. Right? I think a drop-down might be nicer here. So instead of having a text box, what we want to do is we want to have a select section. Right? A select is a drop-down list in HTML. So we can use a select tab here. We can say, so instead of this, I want to select, we'll call this name is stock symbol. What did I call it before? Stock symbol? Yeah. There we go. So let's just change this to a select. A select here for the name of stock symbol. And then we're going to end our select. And what I want to do is I want to populate this. So you could put in here as an option. Value is GME. And then the value here, GME. And then we end the option. So you can have different, this is what displays, and this is the actual value of it behind the scenes. So we can get the value from a given selection, right? So that you get the value, you don't get the display. So you can put different values in here than displays, which is nice. Okay. So if we have an option there, maybe then we'll add a couple more. We might have like AMC and Tesla. I forget. We had a couple others in there, but let's just leave that for now. Okay. Oh, it doesn't like our spelling. Yeah, that's fine. Doesn't like our spellings. So then when we go find a particular stock, now we need to go change this in our stocks controller here. When we were going to list stocks. So if we had a stock symbol, so we can't just use this regular, actually, no, I think this will work because it's the same name here. It should give us the value back out. So let's try it. Let's see if we can run that. Let's see if we can list our stocks out. So now we'll have a drop down here, and I can find a particular stock. Now the problem is I don't have an option for all, right? I didn't have a none option, so let's add that in. So let's go back here to our stock order view, stocks view. Let's add in an option for just blank. There. Okay, refresh our page. So if I pick the blank one, I should get all of them. If I want to pick a particular one, I should get that. But I don't have to hand code these in, right? It's really obnoxious to have to find each individual one at a time. AMC. Uh-oh. Tesla, is it not finding it? Why is it stuck on GME? There we go. Can I find AMC? Oh, my code here is bad. AMC and Tesla. The value was GME every time, despite what I actually had in the menu there. So that was my mistake. Try that again. So if I want AMC, I should be able to get AMC data, Tesla data. Great, all well and good. Again, but it's obnoxious to have to populate that by hand. Wouldn't it be nice if we could do that in code? Hey, turns out we can, right? We already know how to loop through all of our code. Let's just do it again. For each stock in stocks, we don't want table rows here. We want options. Right? We want each of those to be an option. Let's give that a little format. And we want is the symbol here. Right? We want the symbol there. And we also want it to be as our value. Oh, that's obnoxious, isn't it? Let's just see if that loads for us initially. Yeah, good. So we got them all here, so I need to put them in as the value. I guess we can do that again here then. That's annoying. Let's try that. Okay, so we get AMC, find AMC. Uh-oh. But now we're only getting AMC in the list because we used that same list for all of them. Okay, well that's all right. We're getting closer, right? So the problem is because we're using the same loop here, right, for stocks, we had a problem. So I want like all stocks and filtered stocks maybe. Because we want that list to always have all the values, right? So what can we do in our controller instead? That's our index controller. Get stocks by symbol, and then use this one here. What could we do? Because we use the same loop here. Oh, okay, let's just use a different variable then, right? So let's do in our controller, if we're doing that, then let's also, then let's I don't know, maybe we'll call this all stocks. I don't know, not super proud of this, but that's okay. All stocks equals stocks. This way I'll have an all stocks every time for our filter here. And then in our stocks view, this one can be all stocks. Okay, let's try that. So now if I filter to GME, I should get just those in the stocks list, but I should still have all stocks in my all stocks list here. We could do that, sure. You know, I'm feeling bad about that. I don't like that option, actually. Let's see. Let's change that. Let's go back. Forget that here. And I'm not even going to use this all stocks by symbol here. We're just going to get stocks. So the default port for Xdebug is 9003. Now, if you look at your PHP info, so we can change NetBeans in your tools, options, PHP debugging to 9003. So the debug port is completely separate from the port you actually run your server on. So I'm running my server on 50,080. That's a different port. All right. Yeah, I guess we'll just leave it. Let me undo. We'll just leave it alone. We'll do all stocks because that's fine. I wanted to do something else, but that's okay. We could put like an if inside of this one here and only display it if it matched the symbol, but that's okay. This is fine for now. Not going to feel too bad about it. Now we can filter stocks, right? AMD, on and on and on, right? We get all those here, which is cool. Okay, so this would actually be better than as in the update stock price, right? It'd be nice to do that same sort of thing, to have the drop down to tell me, okay, which one is it? Sure, let's do that. So let's take this option here, and we're going to copy this down in our update stock. So we don't want it to be a text input here for the stock symbol. We want that to be the stock symbol. Or do we need the label? I think we have the label, right? We wanted to keep that label. So change the text input to a select input. And now we don't want blank as an option, right? We want just the stock options. So when we're updating, we should be able to give it then the list here. Great. Which stock and what's the price? Okay, that is a much nicer interface here. You see how that is just going to work out a lot prettier for us using our form, right? And this is why the drop-down list is really nice. It works out really well for that. They have multi-select options, which are great, but not anything we're going to try and tackle right now. Text areas are good. We've already done special characters and line breaks. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. We can use print versus echo. That's all fine. Okay, cool. So that's about chapter 7. That's all the things we need to get out of there. So let's see if we can move on to, we're going to look at arrays. So array data, we've actually been using here without really talking much about it when we get all of our stock data or data from the database. So all the things that we are looping through here in our like stock orders is an array, and we're looping through each item inside the array. So we can create arrays ourselves if we want. We say array. So I don't think we have anything that's good for array data in our stock example. That's our users. Maybe we could in users. Can we get an array somewhere? I guess users already is an array. So we do with the array, we get at things, they're zero-based indexes, which makes sense because we came from Java land, where arrays were always zero-based. And so the first index is 0, then the next index, the next index, the next index, so 0, 1, 2 for a 3-item array. We get items out. So we could get items out, again, by index when we deal with our database objects, but I prefer getting them out by name because the order is not guaranteed. So we do have to be careful with that. So arrays are dynamic in PHP, which is nice. So it's not like a static array or a base array in Java, where once you size it, it's fixed, right? It's once you create a basic array in Java, it's fixed in size. So imagine it's more like an array list. Remember, array list, you can add items to it and you can remove items from it, which is cool. So PHP arrays are similar. So they're also dynamic, so that we can add items and remove items as we want to. So if you are trying to get at an index that doesn't exist, it adds the new value. Okay? So just be careful. Yeah, but we got some options there. Let's see. Do we want an array? Users is silly. I think of where we could do a good array. Yeah, sure. So let's add in. No, I'm sorry, I don't have a good example right now. We could, like, if we had a create user page, maybe we could use an array and have some particular values in there, but we don't have that page yet, and we're a little short on time for adding. But yeah, so usually we'll use loops to work through arrays. The problem with arrays being flexible, that you can add or remove items, is that we can have gaps in it. and we do have to be a little bit careful when we deal with gaps. So a good way to avoid gaps is you can use the array values function, and then it will give us a new array and take out all the null pointers in the array, which is nice. So that's typically the way I'd like to use arrays, is we'll just turn it into a new array so we don't have to check to see whether or not values are set. Because it's kind of obnoxious to see if there's a value there, or to see if it's none or not. The other thing we've been doing, again, with all of our data objects, they're not just basic arrays, they're associative arrays, where we have a key and an associated value. So the key was the field name, the associated value is whatever was stored there. So it was really nice to be able to use these arrays with keys instead of just by indexes. And you can do both if you want, which is a little bit silly, but we can create arrays that have keys and indexes. And that's what we saw with our database objects, right? It had the indexes and it had the keys. So the associative arrays are awesome. Use for each loops, we've done that. Yeah, a couple other array functions. Those are all good. Ways to search and sort. Yeah, we can search and sort arrays. We can modify them. Well, there's a lot to it in the array chapter. We're not going to use a lot of it here because we're looking at the stuff that's going to be applicable to what we're doing. So just know there's lots of options with the arrays. I don't want you to get bogged down into doing too much with them here. But he's got a fun example going through like the task list. That one's fun. So 11 was arrays. Man, what was the other? We got to get back in here. The other chapter we were trying to get at today. Oh, we already were there. So I think mostly what we're going to stick to in PHP, because we'll do more in Java, working with arrays and stuff. We'll stick with the data objects, those PDOs, those arrays that we're familiar with. We're not going to do a whole lot more with them. Yeah, arrays, functions. We've talked about functions, right? We've been using functions in our database model. Right? So when we created this stock database model, we defined all these functions. So whether or not we return something, right? Either you're returning a particular value or we're just running something. Right? Cell stocks doesn't return anything, so it's like a void function. That's okay. That's optional. Yeah, so I think we're good on functions, and then objects is you can create classes inside of PHP code. So we can write our own class inside, not just functions, and then we can still do all the things we did with object-oriented programming, where we create this class definition and we can make instances of class. Hey, go Wolverines! Yeah, thanks for coming on by, not a pumpkin. So when you create a class, the constructor method has a special name. It's under constructor or under construct. So I don't think we need to bother with the classes at this point. Let's do this. Let's see for the next project we want to work on. Right, we got project 3 coming up now, right? We're going to use the PDO arrays. We're already using functions in our model, using this MVC model, and then we don't need to build our own custom objects right now. I think we'll be okay. We can work on that another time. Okay. So let's start up a new project here, project 3. We're just going to keep working on the stock trader, Redux, just like revisited. And then this one, we've got break next week, and I think it's going to be due then the 11th. We'll say the 11th at 1 p.m. Okay, so this one's going to be worth a couple more points. So 20 points, this one total, instead of the other one was 15 here. You give me a file, we're good. I got to open it and close it again before I can edit it for some reason. Okay, let me edit this now. So we can use my solution to project 2 as a starting point if you want. We're going to use all MVC style design, model view controller. So add CRUD operations for users. Right, we need to be able to create new users. We already are reading those users there. When displaying users, add a current stock balance or current stock value to the data displayed. So we have to go through every order that they have. So it goes through every stock order they have, calculates the quantity times the current value, okay, of the stock. So quantity times the current value of the stock is the current stock value, right? And then we're going to display a cost. So we're going to display current stock value, cost of purchased stocks. So like the current value of the stock, and then the cost of the value. So if they're, however many we bought times the current price for all of our stocks, and then the cost of them, so our purchase price times the quantity for all the stocks, right? And a net gain / loss. Right, so what we had so far in our users list was just their cash balance. So like on our buy and sell page, we had, okay, Eric owns 10 GME stocks. His purchase price was 50. So my cost there was 500, right? 50 times 10. Let's go manage our stock here. So if we look up GME currently here, they are going nuts this yesterday and today for some reason. I don't know why. Apparently the CFO got forced out by the new guy on the board, which is making everyone excited. All right, so 146. So let's update that to 146. So GME, right? Update to 146. Update. Great. Let's find them all again. Cool. So GME 146. Looking good so far. Okay, so then on my buy sell page, and my current price is 146. So my current price times my quantity, right, is going to be how much I own. So we want to add this to the users page here. Right, so the users page is going to show my stock value and then the cost of stock. So we're going to add another field for the total value of the stock I own, and then another field for the total cost of the stock I own, and then the net gain or loss on that, right, which is, the cost minus, the value minus the cost, right? Current value minus the cost will tell you you're positive or negative. If it costs more than you paid, or if you paid more than it's worth, right, you're in the negative. If it's worth more than you paid, you're in the positive. Right, so we're going to add that to users. We're going to be able to update users. There's not a whole lot we can do to update. That one's, I guess, a little silly. I guess to just add cash, right? So update, we'll be able to add some cash for them. So let's go back. Oh, where to go here? Oh, that's right. We have the GME page open. So displaying users, right? Update, allow update user to add cash. And then this is, so all fields should be, this is all update options should have list fields to select from instead of typing names, symbols, whatever. Right, so like we added in these updates here on manage stock. So update stock price, great, all has to be here. For buy and sell stock, you can't use the stock symbol just as a free text field. We can't use username as a free text field. Make those drop downs. Okay, in users, when we go and update our user, make it a drop down for name, and then you can say, hey, how much cash we're adding, right? So add withdraw cash. So when we pick a username, we can say, hey, add cash or take away cash, right? Add would be a positive number, take away would be a negative number. If you want to withdraw some money, your gains, withdraw those good tendies, that sort of thing. So that's our update operation in users. Okay, and then a delete user. Delete user. It's going to crash if they own stock, but other than that, that's fine. So it's okay if it crashes if they own stock. They should have to sell first, right? So like you can't delete the row user if it's referenced in the stock order table. So they have to sell all of their stock first to get rid of those orders, and then we can delete the user. Okay? So add delete stock option on the stock page as well. And then use drop-down fields for stock symbol and user on the buy and sell page. Ooh, I like it, Snake. I like that. That is a great idea. Use radio button option for deposit / withdraw. So withdraw, probably withdraw. That's fantastic. Snake, you are amazing. We're using more of those things we talked about. I like it. Okay. You guys with me so far? So just trying to update it, clean it up, make it look a little bit nicer now that we have a couple other tools at our disposal. Right? Again, update it to the MVC design. If you want to just use mine as a starting point, that's fine. If you want to try and update yours, that's cool too. Whatever you want to do. So we need to update more actions for users. We need to clean up all the stuff on the buy sell page. Manage stocks, right? We need a delete stock option. I think we're in pretty good shape. And then let's add, I don't know if we need a filter here. Yeah, that's fine. Maybe we'll have a lot of stock. So let's add to our buy sell page. Let's on the buy sell page add a filter, or I don't know, look up a user option to only display stock orders for a given user. I like that. So a couple other tweaks here. We're just kind of trying to iterate on the project, make it look a little cleaner, a little bit nicer here. We can go from there. All right, you folks have any questions, thoughts, concerns? I know that project was a little rough. Reach out if you're having questions, you're not sure. Again, it's okay if the database stuff doesn't make a lot of sense. I know you haven't had the database class, so I'm here to help you with some of these queries, right? But it's somewhat straightforward, right? Some of these joins might be a little confusing if you haven't joined stuff before. But other than that, we say, hey, do this where these match, and we're in pretty good shape. Okay, so I'm happy to help. Reach out if you're not sure about some of those queries, and we can go from there. Okay? Okay, yeah, if you took it a while ago, it's going to be fuzzy. That's okay. Let's save. I think all that's latest and greatest. I'll make one more copy here just in case. Put it out there, replace everything. I don't know if we had any changes. Yep, okay, we did. What did I change? Oh, all stocks. Okay, that's right. So we changed that all stocks thing. Oh, I think I formatted that one. That's fine. So always list all stocks and drop down. All right, I like that. Okay. So if we don't have anything else, we can get working on this project. If you have problems with Xdebug, let me know. I can help get you set up. The version 3 stuff is a little particular there. We can go from there. Cool. All right, folks, it's been fun. You take care. Have a good break next week. Remember, don't come next week. You'll be lonely. No stream. And we'll pick it back up 2 weeks from today. All right, folks, take it easy.